Your reaction when you heard, and more importantly, what's been the reaction now from the people you talked with?
My reaction initially was, wow. And you know what? As much money as that is, it could have been more. No one would have complained if Mike Trout got $40 million a year, and he gets $36 million a year over the 10 years of the extension. And that's just a tribute to the player. And you see there, Bryce Harper's almost $100 million behind, but if you go by WAR, and granted, it's only one measure, but it's a measure that we use to compare players, Trout is twice the career number that Harper and Machado are combined.
Wow.
It's incredible. So, or actually, he's greater than Harper and Machado combined. So that is where he is in the game, and he's going to go down, John, you know this, as one of the all-time greats. So, in a way, no number was going to be too great. The Angels get him. They get him at $36 million a year. It should allow them to do some things in the future. Obviously, they're going to try to build around him. It's something that's been a bugaboo.
Yes.
They not won a playoff game with Mike Trout, but this is a clear commitment to the future. This deal will go through 2030, John.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, he's a little overrated for me. No. It is so great to see a player be able to finish his career in a time where it's so difficult to play with one team, right? He's going to play his whole career barring some kind of trade and start and finish with the Angels. This guy, look, I have the utmost respect for this guy because everybody else wants him to be XYZ, personality-wise. They want him to be out in front. They want him to be the face of baseball. They want him to see, and you know what? That's not his personality. And good for him. He got this done. I don't think anybody saw it coming. And, you know, I'd ask you, Kenny, I think this finally hits the ceiling for me. At least now he's the greatest player in the game. We know what that contract is. I don't think there'll ever be a contract higher. I don't think there should be, you know, and that's a player speaking because he's the best we've got. And it'd be interesting to see how this works through the game and works through some of the great players we've got coming up.
Yes.
With the potential that they have to be the next. Because we're always in the industry where we say, well, who's the next Mike Trout? I don't know that there'll ever be another Mike Trout. That's my greatest compliment to him. But
the guy to look at is Betts.
Right.
Now, Betts, like Trout, was eligible or is eligible for free agency in 2 more years after the 2020 season. So if you're Betts on an extension, you probably don't get as much as Trout. You're not the player Trout is. You've had a couple of years at that level. Trout's had 5 or 6 years. So if you're Mookie, you look at this and you say, okay, if I go free agent, can I beat it there? Maybe in an open market situation you could, or maybe teams will say, you're not Mike Trout. The other option for a guy like Betts, and I'm not saying he's going to do this, but it's another way to go about it. Shorter deal, bigger, higher average annual value. $40 million a year, something like that. That is possible, but with the luxury tax threshold, that number is tough for teams to take. For instance, the Red Sox, that's about the last team that they would want to do a $40 million a year deal. So it's going to be interesting, the fallout, but there is some concern, actually, on the player's side that this might be a soft cap for a while now. Nobody's going to go over it, and you can understand where the teams are thinking that way. Now, the Angels, it's really interesting. Artie Moreno did not want to go down as the owner who lost Mike Trout. I would expect he also does not want to go down, and I wrote this today, as the owner who did not win a World Series with Mike Trout through his prime. So the pressure is on the Angels to keep going here and get better, actually, and build a team around Trout that will be worthy of him. Now, their farm system has gone way up in the last several years. It's much better than it's been, ranked number 12 by Baseball America. That's encouraging. They still need pitching, and that's something they're going to have to shop for. They didn't do a great job of it, or at least winning pitching this offseason. They kept losing on the big guys. So there is still a lot to do in Anaheim, but now they have the anchor. They have Trout. They have Ohtani through 23. Right. They have Joe Adele coming up, Griffin Canning coming up. It's pretty exciting for the Angels.
You mentioned the idea of building around Mike Trout. What sense do you have of what this contract does as far as their ability to do that? And this is a large number here for an outstanding player, but how do you go about building around him?
Well, here's a team that has not gone over $166 million in payroll, opening day payroll. So they're clearly going to need to go higher. They clearly need to go, or will need to go out in free agency and win some of these starting pitching battles. But they do have the capability to do that. Artie Moreno has paid big money before. Pujols, Trout, Josh Hamilton.
Yeah.
Now, Pujols is up after 21. That will help things, clearly. And they recognize, I'm sure, that they need to do more. And I'm sure Trout asked the question, hey, what are you going to do? But at the same time, if you're Mike Trout and they're saying, here's 10 years, $360 million, I'm not sure the answer mattered. No. I'm not sure if the Angels said, guess what, Mike? It's going to be what it is. He would have said, no, I don't know that you can say no to that. Despite some people on our network, Mad and Dog is part of the name, saying that he should have waited 2 years, become a free agent. He's never going to win in Anaheim. No. That's not true. They have the ability to win in Anaheim. They will win in Anaheim.